What's cracking, YouTube family? It's your baby mama's favorite cousin T-Tall. And today we are going to cover 5 reasons why sex is not, I repeat, not the end game of seduction. And for this one, I want my non-select guys and my pre-select guys to come to the front. Come to the front of the class. This one, we're gonna direct this one towards you, because a lot of men assume that, yeah, let me learn game. Let me learn these techniques. Let me learn cold approach. Let me learn how to look for choosing signals. Let me definitely learn the skill sets of seduction, because, man, once I get those down, the panties just going to be flying into me. Life is going to be great. I ain't going to have to pay for dates no more. Gentlemen, let's be clear. The reason why the select manosphere exists specifically is to show men and younger men what happens on the other side of sex. Yes, sex is great. Sex is actually necessary. It's a normal part of our biological functionality, and it helps to maintain both our mental health, our emotional health, and our reproductive health, as I bring out a lot on the Patreon side. However, the world beyond sex is really what it takes to understand and observe and practice your social skill sets in order to progress on the journey of masculine mastery. So without further ado, let's get into the 5 reasons why sex is not the end game of seduction. Number 1, seduction is a muscle. Like any other skill set or habits, the skill sets of seduction requires that you practice, that you study, that you evaluate results, that you refine your methods in order to get better and better at this thing. One of the first challenges that I issue to the reader in the book, The Seduction Scriptures, is to get naked in front of 2 to 3 female friends to get an honest evaluation of how the female gaze comes to you, or comes at you where you are, point blank, period. At no point in that exercise do I say, okay, now go ahead and have sex with them. No, not even close. That particular exercise was to take you out of your comfort zone, was to remove that veil of insecurity that most guys have when engaging with the opposite sex comfortably. And in some ways, it's a veil of insecurity that blocks them from fully exploring the range of social and emotional intelligence that they're capable of, all while grounding them in a necessary reality that is a critical part of masculinity and how you develop on your masculine journey. Because at the end of the day, men have the burden of performance, whereas women have the pressure of perception. Yes, you heard it here first. I'll say it again. Women have the pressure of perception. How they are perceived is their currency, whereas we as men, how we perform is our currency. Interesting dynamic. I will do a deeper dive on that in another video. But that being said, along with that particular challenge in my book, I include other challenges that apply various elements that make up the skill sets of social seduction. The goal, ultimately, is to build up muscle memory, this mental muscle memory, to the point of it being a reflex. That is the goal of practicing the skill sets of social seduction. You want your response to a situation, or your non-response to a situation, to become like second nature. Number 2, not every woman is worthy of sex as the end game of your seductive skill set. Now, on the Patreon side, we discuss 5 dimensions of an observation that a man would make for a woman that he desires to acquire. Here on the YouTube side, I'll give the first 3, and that is observing her octane, grade or her presentation of social class. Shout out to the Master Teacher BCS for the Octane scale. But what that does is shows your relatability or non-relatability to this particular target. Second would be her Fey rank, meaning where she ranks within her female hierarchy group and how she interacts with the other women, and how that's going to carry over into a potential interaction with you. Third would, of course, be her SMV, because, gentlemen, let's be clear, at the end of the day, when we are looking for a woman that we desire to acquire, we need to be able to be comfortable in her presence. We need to be able to stomach, the features that arouse us about this particular woman. Again, like I said in another video, I will talk about the pressure of perception that's on women. Moving on. Number 3, the reason why sex is not the end game of seduction is because there is a sexier option than sex. What are you talking about, cousin? Cousin, have you lost it? It's 2021. Do you still have all of your senses? Yes, indeed. Let me tell you why. There are sexier options than sex, which include, but are not limited to, access. And just to pause for a moment, this is directed definitely at my pre-select guys and non-select guys, because let's be honest, select men have slightly less resistance in navigating certain spaces because of the aesthetic value, because of perhaps being taller than the average guy, perhaps because the select man tends to be more considerate in how his grooming is, how his signature presentation is in terms of his frame, his fit, meaning his outfit or his clothing selection, and his fragrance signature are. These are all things that any man can adjust, that any man can embrace, that any man can get consultation about, so that he can refine and maximize in terms of tangible aspects about his presentation that he can affect in a way that highlights his personal, unique signature presentation. Now, in terms of the next level of that, we get into how the skill sets of seduction, which include social seduction, which your social IQ and your emotional IQ, can get you access to various things. Now, on the Patreon side, I posted a story time regarding how applying the skill sets of social seduction got myself and a brother of mine into an exclusive space. Okay, we used a $12 drink that gave us access to a VIP area with thousands of dollars of drinks, exclusive VIP guests, and an adventurous night. Go ahead and check that out over on the Patreon side. But when we say access, we mean access to information, access to, like I said, spaces, those exclusive spaces that allow you to share and exchange value, and access to opportunities. Those are 3 tangible outcomes that are afforded to the man who embraces the skill sets of social seduction. Number 4, sex isn't always an option. So what does that mean? You're not always in a situation where you can have sex, but sometimes you just meet this person that you have to engage with. You absolutely are drawn into. And this is one of the beauties of seduction, in my opinion, because seduction can last for as short or long a period as you, the seducer, want it to last. It doesn't have to immediately go from hello to the pillow, right? It can be tailored to a particular scenario or situation that doesn't necessarily afford you the opportunity to have an intimate interaction at the moment. And that can be a part of the build up of whatever scenario you want to take place with this person that you desire to acquire. And the takeaway from this is that a key component of why seduction is a superior method of social skill sets is because you can leave an impression, and that impression is what can spark the flame of desire. That impression is what can plant the seed of you, of your signature in that person. And number 5, of course, why sex is not always the end game of seduction is because relationships are the backbone of society, and thus the true end game. Relationships are what we strive for at the end of the day, and how that relationship plays itself out in your world along your journey of masculine mastery, and ultimately how it plays itself out in your mission, needs to be thought about. It needs to not be something that's taken lightly. Discuss that with your masculine mentor. Discuss that with your coach. Discuss that with your teacher so that you can understand the power of the relationship dynamic, not only with women that you desire to acquire, but also groups, also with members of your tribe, also with potential business contacts, also with your students, with your children, with your extended family members. You see, these skill sets are translatable into all aspects of life, and they are coming up more often than not as we become more connected to more ideas and more people globally. And so the importance and the value of the skill sets of seduction will always be something that you can grow, that you can refine, that you can make better and make more accessible as you progress on your journey of masculine mastery. Select men, pre-select men, non-select men. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. And as always, this is your man, Cousin T, aka the Alpha Wingman, saying, stay sharp and mission focused. Later.